Hello everyone, I'm Nick from nextstepnick.com and today we're going to talk about Superliminal. So you might recognise this one from one of the game showcases. I can't remember if it was the Games Awards or E3, but a while ago this one was shown off. It's a game where you can manipulate perspectives, everything isn't quite as it seems, there's a lot of illusion going on. At the moment I know what you're thinking is basically I'm just making things slightly bigger, but there's a bit more to it than that. It really subverts expectations. Think Portal really in regard to this game. You're moving from room to room, solving puzzles and trying to figure out how to get from A to B, but you're also finding out more and more about the story in the background. It's kind of like you're dreaming or you're asleep and you're a bit lost inside one of your dreams, and people are kind of trying to get you out. It's interesting the way in which it really influences the way you think. There's a lot of ways that it chooses to subvert your expectations, as I mentioned earlier, so certain colours might be picked to encourage you to be a little bit nervous or make you assume a certain thing. There's a lot of ways in which things are placed to make you think. There's a lot of clever little asides as well, like the little jokes here with the soda machine. And I really enjoyed it. I've had a really good time with it so far. There's a lot of ways in which it kind of encourages you to try and mess with things. The world itself kind of replicates, or walls might fall down to reveal something behind them. As I mentioned earlier, perspective is something that's really up to play with here. It's quite fun the way in which you can do that. Like, you know, you might find a small sign and then literally pop it into the distance to make it smaller or bring it closer and it will suddenly be massive. And I like the way it does that. It's funny really, because not too long ago I played a game that reminded me a little bit of The Shining. Just something about it, the eeriness of the location, that hotel location, but just the eeriness of it in general. And this has that too. It has that really weird way of making you feel a little bit creeped out and unnerved inside this hotel environment. I don't know what it is about hotels. Just generally a little bit creepy. I seem to feel that way myself when I go to hotels. Just looking down the corridor, I think it's the fact that there's so many rooms and you don't know what's behind any of them, and there's also usually silence. But anyway, as you can see here, there's nice ways to utilise the environment and kind of play with your expectations. I've really had a good time with it. I've had a really good time with it. All of the puzzles were pretty straightforward. You can figure them out quite easily if you just have a little bit of a think. They're not the kind of thing that's really going to tax you. And there are little nice things you can find as well. So sometimes you'll move into a certain area and you might see a little bit of secret writing on the wall. You might see something that's kind of hidden away. And that's kind of sweet. It encourages you to basically explore these areas. And I think that's really something you need in a game like this. It encourages you to try and challenge the way you look at things. And I think that's nice. I think it does something different to what I usually see. It's very different to the norm. And I think that's quite nice in a way. It flows nicely as well. It doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel like it's forced. There's a really amazing scene later where the game makes you genuinely quite unnerved. Now bear in mind there are spoilers up ahead. So if you don't want to see this and you are going to play, then don't watch from this point onwards because you will spoil it, and I definitely think you should experience it. But at this point, you move into an area that's a bit like garages and suddenly it's a completely different feel. There's a lot of red lights, there's a lot of oppressive darkness, there's still a lot of these visual puzzles, but it puts you on edge, it makes you a little bit nervous. And then it starts to subvert into this horror game where items are placed to kind of read in a certain way. Blood starts to appear. You're meant to illuminate the way with this red sign, for example, like an exit sign. And it generally put me on edge. It really creeped me out because I didn't know what to expect. And I thought that it had definitely taken a really interesting turn. And I like the way it does this. I like the way it subverts expectations when it comes to things like perspective, but it does it too in regard to storytelling. It kind of highlights and outlines the ways in which we view stories and the ways in which we perceive certain things to be scary or eerie or creepy or weird or different or normal. And I really like that. I think it's a lovely thing to happen. I mean, at the end of this entire journey, once you finally get to the last room, you think you're following this blood trail and at any moment something's going to jump out at you or make you nervous or freak you out. And in reality, it just turns out that basically you're in a dimly lit area, in a kitchen, and it was paint. And I love it. I genuinely sort of thought, wow, I would have given a standing ovation to that moment. Loved it. So much thought and care has gone into this. Definitely worth playing if you want to try something new and a little bit different. But anyway guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you have enjoyed that video. It really helps me out. And also, I'll hopefully catch you again very soon.